We have so far explored a lot of facets of Muhammadan Islam, and more will be forthcoming. What I find difficult to understand is the almost total inability of the followers of Muhammad to face facts, truth, and reality. There seems to be an almost complete culture of denial. Can you explain?
As I mentioned on several previous occasions when we were accused of being anti-Muslims, that our exploration of the Quran and Hadith is not an attack on believing Muhammadan Muslims, but of the mendacities, hate-mongering, warmongering, and racism that fill the verses of the Quran, which is supposed to be a divine revelation. Well, it is not a divine revelation, and no amount of denial by the followers of Muhammad can change a jot of the facts that it is not. I would like those followers of Muhammad who listen to this series to know that we are not against them as individual human beings. We cannot be, since they are its worst victims to start with. We are, nonetheless, totally against their cult belief system that instructs them to hate us, to war against us, not to have us as their friends, to discriminate against us, to betray us, to humiliate us, to subjugate or to slaughter us. It is a fact that it was Muhammad who unilaterally declared this war against us 1400 years ago, as well as against all human beings who do not believe as he does. Since those Muhammadans who are listening to our series must or should know these facts based entirely on the Arabic language of the Quran and Hadith, why would they think that these instructions are morally and intellectually acceptable? How could they believe that they could have possibly emanated from any merciful and compassionate God who created us in the first place? What would they do, think, and feel if it was our beliefs that ordained the indiscriminate slaughter of the men, women, and children of the followers of Muhammad just because they do not believe in Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism and are not willing to convert to them? I have no doubt that all our listeners understand the immense difficulty of trying to disbelieve decades of indoctrination. The followers of Muhammad are the worst victims of the most diabolical, intellectual, moral, and spiritual deception that has ever been perpetrated upon the human consciousness by the Quran and Hadith. They have been brought up to believe in the utter supremacy of Muhammadan Islam. They are not allowed to study other religions. They are not allowed to question their own belief system. Throughout the history of Muhammadan Islam and even at the present moment, all those who question the Quran are slaughtered, burnt, or exiled from their own lands. We do not even need books to read about these facts, since we see their depraved acts daily on our TV and read about them in the news. We fully understand and empathize with those followers of Muhammad who are confused and do not know whom to believe and what course of action to take. We also appreciate their loyalty to their families and culture that would inhibit them from taking any action contrary to their traditions and sense of honor. While we do sympathize and take all of the above into account, nonetheless, every human being has been given the intellect to comprehend, compare, contrast, analyze, and then make an independent evaluation of one's situation at any time in their life. The followers of Muhammad, contrary to the teachings of the Quran, have the free will to choose. No God or divinity has predestined their lives, because predestination makes religion null and void. The first humans, according to the Bible and the Quran, were Adam and Eve. They were forbidden by the Almighty from eating of the fruit of the tree of knowledge. They were given a choice to eat or not to eat, to break God's commandment or to obey it. They were not predestined, because predestination excludes free will. Without free will, there is no choice. The serpent or Satan did not threaten their lives or force them into breaking God's instruction. Eve chose to eat. Adam chose to follow Eve. Maybe they made the wrong choice. Nonetheless, they made an intellectual and moral choice. The same choices are available to those who are born into Muhammadan Islam or any other belief system. They have all the information available to them at the click of a mouse. They can choose another belief, or they can choose none. If one believes in a God or not will not ever detract from one's humanity. One can be a believer but a mass murderer, and another can be an atheist but a saint. The greatest fear that those among the followers of Muhammad who want to change is the fear of being slaughtered by their own brothers and sisters for apostatizing. I would have thought that this fact alone shows the depravity, inhumanity, injustice, and immorality of a belief system that forbids one from choice? Why, if Muhammadan Islam is such an allegedly great belief system, resort to violence and terror to keep its followers in line? I repeat that as much as we do understand the unenviable situation and predicament of those born into Muhammadan Islam, nonetheless, those Muhammadans who are citizens of democracies do have choice and cannot hide behind any excuse except that they do not have the will to choose and hence remain till the end of their lives hostages to an evil and ungodly cult belief system.